And we are live with hell of a show. We're about to get started on this very shortly. Go ahead and let me know in the comments if you can see and hear me. I certainly appreciate that. Let's get those shares going. We're going to have a great time on here tonight. Got some great guests backstage ready to go. This is going to be a lot of fun on here. Some familiar faces that you're going to see on here. One familiar face that you've seen on here quite often, actually. I think he's going for like a world record at this point. We're going to see if we can beat that throughout the year as well. But we're going to have some fun with this. Let me know again if you can see and hear me and get those shares out there. We also have a giveaway we're going to be doing as well. You heard me correctly. There will be a giveaway tonight. Big Dog Inc. has something to go ahead and offer up tonight. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So let me make sure everything's set up over here. Get those shares out there. Let's let everybody know we are live and we will get going on this right now. Let's start getting our guests up here. We're going to start out with... let's start out with Mad Max. We're going to bring him up here from Atrocity Press. Here's Max Devill.
What's up?
What's going on, Max? Welcome back.
Thank you. Just hanging out. Just got done with Larry's show and came over here. Talk to you, Johnny Carson of Late Night Comic Books.
I mean, I need to start like acting like I'm teeing off with a golf club or something. You all keep calling me.
Got a really, really good show.
Next up, let's bring up Brian Peterson on here. Brian, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Phil. How's it going, man?
Man, it's going good. Good to have you back on the show.
Thank you so much. It's good to be back.
Hey, no problem at all. And then, of course, we're going to bring him up. If y'all don't know who this is right now, by any means, y'all got problems and don't pay attention to any of the internet at all. 13-time showing on here. Y'all heard me correctly. 13 times on Hell of a Show alone. It is the big dog himself, Tom Hutchison.
Yeah, it's how does the road dog say it? If you don't know, you better call somebody.
Absolutely. You bringing up wrestling, that's we're fixing to start having a wrestling show. It's going to start up next weekend. So I'm all kinds of excited about that. And let's see, we got Stephanie here and says hello, and she said hello to all of us individually as well. So
Stephanie doesn't care about us. She just wants the prize. That's all. She just wants here for the prize.
Well, I mean, if we get some more people in here, we got a chance of going out to different people. If it's only Stephanie,
yeah. So far, you've won, Stephanie.
I mean, right now it's in the bag. I mean,
big winner.
Yeah, give me the prize. Yeah, exactly. She doesn't even know what the prize is, but she wants it.
I'll tell you this, Stephanie managed to do it now. Stephanie, I got to give big props and thanks to, because she helped facilitate getting our first ever Joel Gomez cover for Legend of Oz last year. She had given him a Legend of Oz sketch cover to draw on, and he had never seen the book before, and he thought it was a really cool book. And just through the social media sphere, I caught wind of him talking about this and she talking about it. And I was like, yo, let's like do a thing. And he was like, yeah, cool. Let's do a thing. And we got him to do it. It was his first ever cover with us. What's funny is I've known Joel for years and years and years from just Comic-Con stuff, back when he was like working for doing some Aspen stuff and so on, just a million years ago. And I've always kind of run into him back and forth. And so we've always kind of had like a little loose connection, but Stephanie put that together. She plugged it together and we got it done. So big props to Steph.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Now, normally I start off the show by going in and letting everybody know who you are and what you do and where to find you type thing. But again, if y'all haven't been paying attention to the internet, y'all don't, shouldn't be watching right now, I guess. I don't know. It's these guys have been on here and all over the place for quite some time. Max has got a campaign going. Tom's got a campaign going. Brian is doing artwork on Tom's campaign, which is awesome. I mean, there's all kinds of things going. But tonight, and if y'all saw the description of what's going on, we're going to be talking about WereBears, which some people are out there. If you don't know what that is, it is what it sounds like, pretty much to a T. And then we're also talking about Nuns with Guns. And again, it sounds like what it is. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one. I mean, you can't go with that kind of a description on there and not have fun with this. And we've got Niobe in here hailing us. I hailed you earlier, man. So I appreciate that. Appreciate you being here.
Time to bring it back full circle.
Exactly. Boys.
We'll all be back on Larry's show after this is over.
It's like we just shuffle it around and we have fun with it. But I mean, y'all have got some campaigns going, having a lot of good forward motion on these things, and a lot of I mean, you've got some milestones set up on this. I mean, with Max, this is number 4, in your series over there.
Yep.
With Tom, this is your 3rd to finish out the 10-year anniversary on this one. So this finishes the arc.
Volume 3.
Volume 3, yes, exactly.
Third.
So there's been a little bit of history going on with all these things, which is great. What I want to kind of discuss tonight is we're going to talk about those most definitely, but we want to kind of delve into some more of the process of doing this as well, because one of the big things that I wanted to bring up tonight is character development, because you're always talking about, what these projects are and how they're doing and everything. We want to kind of get to know what it is behind the curtain as well, along with the projects themselves. So first off, what I want to start off with, I'm going to ask Max first. Whenever you're creating a character, what is your process for going ahead and developing that out for a long period of time? Whenever it's a one shot, it's kind of easy to just throw it out there and it's over and it's done with. But whenever you're looking at long term, how do you kind of discern what goes where and what order out there?
Well, I mean, I start out with where I want the character to be, and then I scale it back. And I kind of strip away things. And then I allow those things that I've stripped away to become plot points. And then that allows me to build the character up to what I wanted them to be, and then I can continue forward with that character. And a lot of it, anything after that is just growth. It's organic growth inside of the story in itself.
There you go.
I mean, I'll write a new character, and I'll be like, okay, well, now that I got this new character, I stripped these other things away. I need to have a plot point so I can use this character I used before, and it all, as long as there's an internal logic to your story, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the logic works inside the story. It doesn't have to be logical. It just has to work inside the story.
Right. And it does. It makes a lot of sense in doing it that way. Now, kind of the same question to you, Tom, because especially dealing with, when you're dealing with what you're dealing with on your where you are, volume 3, 3rd book in this one to finish out the arc on this particular volume set. When you're dealing with building this much of a character, how do you go ahead and see the future so far out to know where it's going to be going?
I don't know. I mean, it kind of depends. How do you answer that? It depends. It's a lot of like what Max said. It kind of starts with, these ideas that you have of like, what is this character going to be? What is it going to do? What is their point? What is their goal? What is their, power if you need it or whatever. But you definitely need, particularly if you're telling a long form story, which everything that I do for the most part is a long form story. So you kind of have to have these beginning, middle, and end bullet points. So everything that I have has an ending planned. Literally every book that I have has an ending. So now that doesn't mean that it can't modify along the way. But there's a general, we're going to get here, and then this is the end of whatever this is. But along the way, you kind of follow the bones of your skeleton. We have to go here. We have to go here. We have to go here in order to reach further up. But as you're telling the story, there's no real reason you can't sort of make left and right turns as the story reaches points that you kind of maybe weren't expecting. That you can kind of be like, okay, well, I actually like this. We're going to go this way for a little while. And then we just kind of turn it back around. So we make sure that whatever that little hook is, it still lands us back at our next bullet point that takes us down the road to where we go. So that's the organic storytelling that he's talking about. It's like, you'll write something that'll be like, oh God, I didn't even think about that. And now I have to address that. And you do it in whatever way you want. Sometimes it's a small little thing. Sometimes it's a large, we got to go over here. But when you're doing long form storytelling, that's what makes all of that stuff work. you know. When you're looking at things like the X-Men, right? I mean, X-Men going back to the 60s, what Stan Lee was doing in the 60s, he had no idea what they were doing in the 80s, so a lot of that is it's just organic. Let's just stay with the character. Let's move it through these ideas that we have. And over time, sometimes it's through societal changes and, all kinds of things. So you let these characters sort of adapt themselves to whatever story, wherever you are as a creator within that story. And it can change where you are. As you could start, I started stuff 13 years ago now. And, there are definitely points in my stories where I'm like, I feel different about what I'm doing with this character than I did when I started. And that personal change is sort of inputted into the book. Sometimes drastic, sometimes small. But it's definitely there. And I have specific points that I could be like, I just changed my mind and I'm doing it this way now. So, that's
the beauty of fiction.
Yeah. And in long form storytelling, you can do that because you're not really restricted to like, I have 5 issues and I'm done with this whole thing. No, you can monkey with it, finish that arc. And then when you go to the next arc, you just take whatever you monkeyed with and you move it forward. So that was a lot of rambling, but I think it made sense.
No, trust me, it's not rambling by any means, because people who, are looking into starting up writing and things like that, it gives them an idea, because sometimes you hit a brick wall and you're just like, I can't see past, my pages that are right in front of me right now. How do I know where it goes any further than that? And actually drawing out to where it's the end and then backwards is the best way to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I think as long as you have an end in mind, you'll be able to work through the walls that you're coming to, because you always know where you're going. Mm-hmm. And again, like even with my endings, they might not be like 100% exact by the time I get there, but it'll be close enough that, you'll have seen the story being guided that way.
I like the idea of leaving it open, so you can go various ways with it. I see so many little mini series that are 3 or 4 issues, and then they're like, okay, my story's done, in 3 issues, 4 issues. I see that a lot, in the indie scene, and it's okay for indie books. They're just quick stories. But honestly, keeping it open and just continuing is I think is a cool thing to do.
Yeah, I had this discussion the other day on somebody's thread where I was telling them why they were wrong. That's what I do. And basically the thought process that we were talking about, like, how did it come up? I don't remember. Anyway, we were talking about like short stories versus long form storytelling. And I was saying that there was a lot of, we were talking about publishers, smaller publishers that were starting to fold and so on. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to understand, all these publishers that were coming out, they were just doing random creator owned things. And most of these creator owned things were never long form things. Mm-hmm. It's not like Saga with Brian K. Vaughan, right? Which goes and goes and goes. Right. It's just like, hey, here's a story. It's done. Now, it's not to say it's bad, but basically the way that I visualize those things is that they're not really there to be comics. They're there to be Hollywood pitches. And that's all there is. It's like, we did 5 issues. I don't care if we made money. Let the Hollywood guys look at it, and maybe we'll make 50 grand on an option. Like that's there's so much of that in the industry, and it has been for decades. That's the way we've been going. So when I see something like a Brian K. Vaughan saga, which I don't really care for saga, but the fact that he just keeps going and keeps telling the story long form, that's a comic book. Robert Kirkman's Invincible, that's a comic book. Like you keep, even if it's a recurring miniseries, doesn't it be like 1 through 200? But as long as you keep bringing it back and the IP remains in the eye of the public and the buyers, they're going to be like, well, when's the next one? Well, when's the next one? Well, when's the next one? And as soon as you're done,
exactly,
that's and that it. You're done.
You got to have it to where they're actually expecting more, because if you give them too much at the very beginning, they're kind of like, well, that's it. You went out and you went fishing with dynamite and unloaded everything out in the pool and it's done.
Yeah, and you can do that, but then again, then you have to come back with something else, because if it's done, you got to make up a new thing, which we can all do. But when you make up a new, if people are following you for a period of time with one book, and then you make a book that's like completely polar opposite, they may not just come flocking. It's just like Robert Kirkman, Walking Dead and Invincible. Invincible was the greatest superhero book on the market while it was running. Period. It's not disputable. I will fight anybody on that point. But the audience, the buyers for Walking Dead, did not all go over to Invincible because it's just a different book. He had more horror buyers buying Walking Dead, and it became a TV show. Now, obviously, Invincible is a TV show, and people are like, "Oh, I love Invincible." No, you don't. You saw the cartoon, and now you want the books. But he was selling like 16,000 units of Invincible, sort of at its high point, and The Walking Dead was, far, far higher than that. So just because you made a really super hot property over here, when it's done and you go make a new one, it doesn't mean you're going to have the followers coming this way. So, just something to keep in mind.
And it's funny that you even bring up about Walking Dead, because whenever I read up on that was actually supposed to be a short series. He was supposed to stop that fairly quickly because it was such a this will never happen type thing. It's just a fantasy thing, whatever. People aren't going to really gravitate toward it because it's it's too much going on or whatever. And then all of a sudden it just blew up, and he could not keep up with it fast enough for the people wanting that thing. And then of course whenever the show came out, everybody went back and said, wait a minute, this is based on a book, and everybody went hunting for the books at that point too. So it's just a matter of
that time there was 17 trade paperbacks available.
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Exactly. But I mean, the whole point is to make it available as you go along because of what the audience wants out there. You're listening to the tempo of the audience and figuring out, okay, they like this or they dislike this. Let's switch gears a little bit. And then you can keep it going, but sometimes you have to switch gears like Tom was talking about.
Yeah. And then in our, God, I love Robert Kirkman so much. Love him so much that I hate him because he's so smart. So when you're doing 200 issues of The Walking Dead, everybody assumes it's going to go to 200 and then it's going to stop. Like, hey, big 200th issue and we're done. And he's on 192 or something, and he's soliciting out 195, 196, 197, and people are like, oh, we're getting ready. And then issue, I think it was 195 or something came out. 195 was like, yeah, we're done. See ya.
Well done.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That's so smart, because, and people still don't wrap their head around this. There was no way for him to write an ending that when he got to the finish, people would be like, yo, that's a great ending. Impossible. Yeah. Absolutely impossible, because it's just too much expectation. Too many people want it one way or the other. It's like ending a TV show. Nearly impossible to have a perfect finale. So he just was in the middle of his long finale. He was just like, yeah, we're done. And so he got a little shit for it for a while. People panicked and were like, oh my god. And then it was just, okay, we're done. That's it. We moved on to the next thing.
Exactly. Now I got to ask Brian, on your end with doing the artwork and everything. Of course, it's something where, number one, I don't know if you just have the sight beyond sight type thing where you look at it and you automatically know exactly where you're going with everything, instead of, for me, it's like put one dot on a piece of paper and look at it going, nope, this thing, it's gonna be terrible. I forget it. I'm not gonna do it. But I mean, I didn't know if you see that far ahead that you can actually see what's going on there. And then the other part of it is, how do you go ahead and control that tempo to make sure that the next one's going to be better and the next one's going to be better, because it's continually coming out that way?
That's the hard thing about doing, consistent work, is sometimes your piece doesn't do as good as the last piece. And you are always wanting to improve and make that next piece better. I do kind of see my pieces in advance. It helps when I know what I'm preparing for. A lot of times Tom or whoever will just give me an idea, and I have a little bit of time to kind of visualize what I want to do with it. And then I get to work on it. I'm doing a piece right now. It's fairly challenging, a new 360 cover that we've mentioned. And I'm working through some beginning stages in that. I have visions of things that I want to do, but trying to execute them is always fairly tricky,
Nice, because the last 360 cover was the one that you did for Princesses versus Zombies, correct?
Yes. It was Legend.
That was the first one. That was the first one he did.
That was the first one. I'm sorry, that was the first one. Yes.
Yeah. He did a second one for Oz. Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah,
because they're
I've got both of those because they're just, I think I mentioned this the last time I had y'all on the show. I looked for those imperfections on there. I was like, is something going to be out of whack just a little bit on there, enough where it's, that noticeable or something? Or is something going to be just a little bit, the color won't match up correctly on there or something? It was perfect. I mean, I looked at it over and over and over again, and I was like, this is awesome that you put that much attention to detail in there.
Yeah, well, thanks. I really did.
That's because I kept telling him, fix that shit. Fix that shit.
Change it. You're wrong.
That's right.
There's definitely a lot of looking back and forth, and a lot of that stuff. I work it out digitally on the computer first before I start, so I have to flip through images. Sometimes it's kind of hard to set them all up side by side and look, and it can get a bit crazy at times.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely can with that. Now, the next thing I want to kind of delve into is whenever you're creating characters, how do you go ahead and get the backstory? I mean, what do you come up with on there? Do you find something that's got a personal grasp to you in some way, form, or fashion, something that you really enjoy studying, or is it something that you go completely out of your wheelhouse? I mean, where do you come up with werebears? I got to throw that out there. Where do you come up? Werewolves? I got that. Vampires? I got that. Werebears? I'm kind of like, that's a big dog thing. I've never heard that anywhere else.
Because it's a simple answer, Phil. Don't you know yet? I'm a genius.
I'm a genius.
I'm a genius, man. So Ursa Minor or the werebear came from the term Ursa Minor, right? So for whatever reason, the term, I don't remember why I was thinking of it, but I was reading something or whatever, and Ursa Minor came up, and the term just stuck in my head. Kind of a lot like when I was doing the Legend of Oz, and I was looking for tickets to go see Wicked, and that image of Elphaba was in my brain when I was driving through the desert out in New Mexico and stuff, and that's kind of where Legend of Oz came from. So Ursa Minor just got in my head, and I started to interpret it in my head like it means literally little bear. And so I was like, okay, little bear, that's what little bear. And it just hung with me. And somehow that translated into like literally a little bear. Like originally, the Ursa Minor that we have now is not what Ursa Minor was originally. Like not even close. But once I got to the point of the little person becoming the bear, and I was like, that's like a werebear. That's kind of cool. And that's where the whole thing just kind of started going from, was just literally that phrase got in my brain, and I started analyzing it and analyze, fix, tweak a lot. Like I said, a lot of like a Legend of Oz, she can't wear ruby slippers. She's got ruby spurs, and you just let it evolve into like, I could have a werebear. And the werebear could be like the mortal enemy of the vampires, and the vampires could have like these lead vampires, like the big vampires, like Dracula and Bathory, and like the werebears are the only things that could kill the vampire legends, and on and on and on, and then you just build the world out of that.
And I want to say right now, thank you for making the vampires actual vampires and not that glittery stuff. I just want to throw that out there. Thank you for doing that. But Frederick's got a question over here that I want to delve into here in just a moment, because Tom, you're known for it's irritating at times. I'm gonna tell you right now, because my bank account didn't like this too much, because you'll put something out on the campaign. We get excited about it. We jump on there to back it, because you're always like, get them while they're hot, get them while they're here. As soon as this number's gone, they're gone. So you're out there and you're running, you're jumping on as fast as you can. A week later comes, oh, but wait, there's more. And then a week later, oh, but wait, there's more. And you've got different covers and different ideas.
Yeah, we've eliminated that. We don't do that anymore, really. It's pretty rare that we do that now. We only had one add-on for this campaign, and that was a designed add-on because of Yeehaw Vampires, which was Brian was in on the creation of that on the last campaign. So we had a designed add-on that was part of a stretch goal, and so on and so on and so on. But I've pretty much tossed it out the door of like every week we're going to just do an add-on just because. So a lot of our campaigns you guys are going to see are very, very streamlined now. Very streamlined. Okay. Now we do stuff like day one only things. So you got to get in on day one to get those things. But once we're out of that day one, it's pretty much just come get your books. What do you want? What do you like? Here they are. Come get it.
And Frederick asks, plans for any Crystal Flex, special foil, or unique covers?
No.
Is what he's asking.
No, I hate that stuff. I hate that stuff. And I'll tell you why.
Why be different?
Because all of that stuff takes away from the art. You know what I mean? Like, if it's a foil, it's one thing. It's got like a shine to it. It's fine.
Right.
Metal, it's a shine. Okay. But when you start talking about crystal fleck and weird like patterns and stuff, it's just taking away from the art. Now, there's ways to monkey with it so that the art kind of stands out against that stuff and whatever. But I'm like, you know what? It's just too much. I'm an art fan, and for me, the art has to be the thing, you know. And yes, we'll do special editions. We do blood foils, things like that. But again, that's a simple red. We're not doing crazy weird patterns and stuff on it or anything.
Right.
So for us, no, we keep it as simple and clean. I like clean. We don't get a lot of weird, choppy stuff happening with what we do. I know, Max, do you do foils on your stuff?
Sometimes it just depends. We've done foils in the past. We've done metal covers in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do any of like Brian Polito's stuff that he does, where it's like gemstone edition.
Yeah,
or,
right.
Leather bound cover. I don't do any of that. I mean, number one, I can't afford it. Number two, I wouldn't do it anyways.
Yeah, it's just not for me. Not for me.
And that makes sense, keeping it more streamlined, because people are kind of able to get into it a little bit more and pick up a little bit more of what they're looking for on there. Yeah. Case in point, like I think they were called the Emerald editions from Oz. Because foils. Oh my gosh, I love those. Those are just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the original art is beautiful, but whenever you put that emerald on there as well, and plus it goes with the story. So it's not something that's just thrown out there just to be different. It actually has more emphasis to the story itself. Yeah,
I like to try and make this stuff fit what we're doing, right? So, you know, red foils, we call them blood foils for Ursa Minor, emerald editions. We did the Princess Day. We did Pretty in Pink hollow foils, you know, but again, it's very simple. It's just a pink sheen. It gives the art a little bit of a different look to it, but it doesn't take away from the art. You know, it's not you're buying the foil, right? You're buying the foil version of it, and it's just it's just a modified piece of art. So, but I always want the art to be able to speak for itself at all times. And so as far as doing like crystal flex and stuff, again, there are ways to modify the art and do some things. But I mean, I'd rather do just like a spot gloss even on a cover, more so than like a fleck thing, because then again, you're taking that character and letting the character sort of pop off the page with the spot gloss. That's cooler to me than a lot of these kind of weird other things. Which is mainly what you were doing with the Goth Day covers, correct? You were doing more like that for some of those, especially the Ursa Minor. I remember that one was like that. We didn't do any spot. We haven't done any spot gloss yet. It's something that's been offered to us, but I haven't really pulled the trigger because I haven't really found like a need to do it.
Yeah. Art that deserves it.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, and again, it's like I know that I know Polito does it with Coffin Comics. They do spot gloss on stuff, and I'm like, I mean, it looks good, but like I don't know. Sometimes that's like even a stretch goal, right? We'll just spot gloss this thing as a stretch goal. But I don't know. I always sort of fall back in my decision making process. I always sort of fall back to, can the art? What's the point? Is sort of the question. What is the point?
To me, usually when they do something like that, it's a more limited print run. A lot of the people who are hunting those more limited editions just buy that up just because it is the limited run.
Absolutely.
But I totally 100% agree with you. I like the art, to be the focus. And, most of the time I don't think about the fleck background taking it from the art, but it totally does. You're 100% right.
I usually go with, when it comes down to it all, it's at the base core. To me, it's would I buy this?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's what I go with. It's like, do I want to buy this? And if I'm yes, then I'll make it. If it's no,
Yeah,
I won't make it.
That's right. I'm very much the same way. Yeah, very much the same way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, Max, I want to ask you, in dealing with your IP over there, I mean, there's been several different IPs that have kind of had the same pulse to it, you know, with the nuns with the guns type thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yours has got a different feel to it. It actually has a different pulse to it. How did you come up with where it was the same idea of some characters that have been out there, but with a whole new twist?
Oh, that's a difficult question.
We ask them sometime around here.
I spent a lot of time in the shower and on the shitter meditating about it. I mean, I liked a lot of that stuff, like Warrior Nun Ariella, Evangeline, all those types of things. And when I created Mary Machine Gun, before it even came out, people were just like, "Oh, that's just Warrior Nun. Oh, that's just Evangeline." And I'm like, "Wait, read the book.
Mm-hmm.
Read the book and tell me if it's the same." Because, you know, at first we were like, we'll use the nuns with guns thing because I like nuns with guns. So we'll use nuns with guns. And then I was like, but I don't want to restrict her to being a nun.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, how do I work around that? It's like, okay, well, her order works with the Catholic Church and they use nuns and priests to move their agents around the world without being detected, because who cares about a nun? You know, nobody cares about a nun. If some new nun shows up at a convent, they're none the wiser. But yeah, I mean, I try to think up ways to not subvert expectations, but just kind of turn expectations back around on the person.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
I don't
concepts are. It's hard to not have something that is similar to a concept. I mean, there's too much content in the world over the last, 100 years. It's hard for you to make something that somebody doesn't say, well, that reminds me of that. Well, okay, that's fair. But it's not the context. It's not the concept that you have to worry about. It's how you tell the story. Because you can take a concept, you can take a nun with a gun and tell that story a dozen different ways. So, that's that.
Yep.
And if you're unfamiliar with what we're talking about, first of all, shame on you, but you got to go check this out on Kickstarter. And again, these links are all embedded in the feeds, so y'all can get over there quickly. But hang out until the end of the show before you do that, because you never know what you're going to miss, including giveaway that we're going to be having here in just a little bit. But this is actually the main character right there. That's nuns with guns right there. She leads that force and kind of does all that there. Without giving a spoilers away and everything, but that's your main character right there. So
I don't see any guns. I see a sword.
Well,
sword.
Big G guns. No,
She does have a rifle though. It's just not in that picture.
There you go. But I mean, it's a fun story. It's got a lot of different elements to it. It got a lot of different layers to it as well, because like you said, you went for something that was, people have heard of it before, but a whole different way of going ahead and expressing that out there. And it definitely does that.
One of the things we like doing is alternate history. Like in the first issue, Mary is hunting, the second issue, Mary is hunting the beast of Jovedon, which is an actual historical, there was a werewolf in France that was terrorizing people, and some guy hunted it down and ended up killing it. And we went, and I always like to do this with that's the guy still gets the credit for the kill and everything, but here's what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mary's part of it. She ends up killing the werewolf. The guy gets knocked out in the conflict, and when he wakes up, he's just like, he's the only one left, and there's a dead werewolf. So he's like, well, I guess I killed it.
So you're writing historical fiction.
Pretty much, yeah. We do a lot of that.
But I mean, it's a fun series that's out there. Now, is this with this being issue 4? Is this the end of the arc on this one, or how does that work?
It's the
This
end
is
of
the one where
arc.
Mary dies. Oh,
No, Mary dies in number 2. No, but this is the end of the arc for Mary for this Mary Machine Gun story. We've got another one. The arc's already completely written. It'll be a 3-issue miniseries. This one, it's only 4 books, but it's still 176 pages of content because it's like book 1's 36 pages, book 2's 44, book 3's 40, and book 4 is 44 or something like that. So it's a lot of content in each book. They're very thick. They're hard to push into the sleeve sometimes.
got to get Silver Age bags.
I know.
Yep. Exactly. Now, I mean, you said you've already got the other arc you've got ready to go directly after this one. So as soon as this is done, you're ready to go ahead and start off and go into the next one as soon as you do fulfillment.
Yeah, Mary Machine Gun, Dark America.
Nice. Now, I know both of you, Max and Tom, have insane schedules for this year. We've already discussed that the last times that I had y'all on the show, and we were talking about the schedules y'all are going to be having for this year. And then I'm finding out several other people that I've either had on as guests or I will be having are having the same thing where they're all doing insane schedules. Is there something with 2023 that seems like it's more of a rush to get out there and kind of get in front of the thing, or what exactly is it that everybody's trying to get as much product out there as possible?
It's not really a rush, as I would say, as much as it's Atrocity Press has just organically grown to this point, and it's the next logical step. So if we don't take that leap, then we'll never take that leap.
Right.
So let's go ahead and get it done. We've got enough books right now to do 1 per quarter for each book, and that fills up our year.
Nice. And Tom, what about you?
Yeah, it's part of this is all part of creation and all this stuff is in a way sort of staying ahead of the wave. And in 2020, that wave went batshit. And now the wave is not quite what it was back then. 2020, 2021, even 2022. It's not quite the same. But there are definitely people who are, at sort of me and Max's level that have done this long enough now that they kind of have a sense of, we kind of are getting this under control. We understand how this works. We can kind of start to pick up the pace. We can kind of start to take, it's now sort of in a way, oddly, like we're trying to find our way to maintain market share. It's like the old Marvel versus DC days of, who can maintain the market share. But it's not like we're beating each other, really. I mean, it's not exactly like Marvel DC trying to take over each other. But I think there's enough people that aren't just doing this for the fun of it. Like there's plenty of people that are still just doing vanity projects. I want to make a comic book. That's the bulk of what's on crowdfunding. But the people that are now starting to step up and say, like, let's make this a business. Let's pay our bills making comics. Like, let's do that kind of stuff. You're starting to see those guys really start to be almost overactive on the campaigns because they want to be there all the time so that your eyeballs are always seeing them. Whether you're buying or not, you're always seeing them. And that's branding and that's market share and that's all that kind of stuff. So I think you're seeing a lot of smaller publishers kind of figuring that out. Like, yeah, we could do 1 book every 3 or 4 months, but the eyeballs go away from us. We do our campaign and then we're gone for 3 months and nobody is looking at us. And then here we come again and so on and so on. Now you can maintain that. That's how we all kind of built ourselves. But at some point you kind of have to do a little more and a little more and a little more to sort of, be almost that monthly comic book in the comic book store type of thing. That's the mentality of a lot of these folks is like, how do we become monthly? And it takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of infrastructure and you got to really be ready for it. Which is why I'm not monthly. I'm not doing what Max is doing, but we are going to have the equivalent of basically almost every other month this year. We'll have some campaigns. So, but one of them to kind of give us a little gap break is bringing Penny for Your Soul back into print. So there's not really anything to produce as far as a book. It's just the hardcover edition we're going to do. So that'll again give us a little bit of between actual creation projects, so that we can make sure that our infrastructure is where it needs to be.
A little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, and stay ahead of things as best we can with artists and so on. So yeah, we'll be doing roughly 6 campaigns this year. Maybe more, only within the context of like our special days, like our Princess Day and Bikini Day and things like that. We'll have a few of those that'll pop up as well, but those will just be like 24-hour things. So as far as big campaigns, it'll be like every other month roughly for us.
Now, Brian, are you seeing a surge of more work coming your way for this year that you have in the past, or how's it looking for you over there as an artist?
Oh, it's looking okay. I mean, it's about the same as usual for the most part. Tom still keeps me busy with a lot of things, so that's Tom's really the person I like working with the best. So we just kind of keep it going. I've got a few other projects on board with a few other publishers, but right now I'm just kind of keeping it simple for the most part.
I mean, that's the way to go with it on there. Now, I got to ask both of you, because you've both got publishing companies. Are you planning on at any point branching out and expanding to bring more people into your publishing companies? That way, you have more titles.
No.
No.
Let me be clear. No. I don't have time or space to do it. And here's the other reality: you don't need me to do it. Now, granted, if you are hooked up with someone like Max or myself, and we've been doing it for a while, and you kind of get hooked onto that, you kind of gain some little bit of, I don't know what the term is, but a little extra cachet, because it's like, oh, Big Dog Inc.'s publishing my book. Like, there's some value in that. But ultimately, I'm going to do the same thing that you can do. I'm going to put it on Kickstarter. We're going to send it to an audience, and people will buy it or they won't. So I would tell people, stop looking for publishers and start building your audience and take it to crowdfunding yourself.
Yeah, I mean, same here. We're not really into publishing other people's books because, as Tom said, I mean, what can I do that you can't do yourself? I don't have like Image or Antarctic Press or anyone that's like in Diamond, so I can't help you there. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't help you get international. I mean, there's nothing I can do but put it on Kickstarter and try to get it funded for you. So why not do that yourself and keep all the money?
Yeah. I'm going to say the thing that no one wants to hear. I'm just going to say it. The people who are looking for publishers. Are you ready? The people who keep looking for publishers are the people that don't want to do the work, because they want the publisher to do the work for them.
Do the work. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, catch 22. The publisher is not going to do shit for you. Right? They're going to put you in Diamond. They're going to have your listing, whatever. They might have some basic retail contacts, like, oh, here, we got a new book. Like, that's all they're going to do. So even if you get a publisher, you still have to do the work of promoting your book, doing the signings, doing these live things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You are always going to be better off just starting to build your audience and take it to crowdfunding yourself. And that's just the reality of it.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
That's for damn sure.
I mean, seriously.
Listen, we all started at zero, right? And I don't know about Max, but I started when there was barely an internet, right? Or there was an internet, but there was barely social media. Like, it was the beginning of Facebook. There was no Instagram or TikTok. Like, you have opportunity now to put yourself in front of people's faces like never before. You just have to decide to do it. And that's it. I mean, and that's not it. Like, you don't just like turn on your camera and you have an audience, but you use that to build your audience over a period of time. That's what we all did. When social media was new, we all kind of tinkered with it, but we were all at Comic Cons. We were all, doing that kind of thing. That was sort of the big thing, is you had to go to cons because there was no social media. That was social media back then. So, it's just one of those things where I tell people, you don't need me. You need an audience. Now, I have an audience, but just because you come in with a book doesn't mean my audience comes and follows you, because they want what Tom's been doing. Tom writes this, Tom writes that, Tom writes this, Tom writes that. If it's Tom writes this and Joe Blow writes this, that doesn't mean there's an immediate crossover. It just doesn't. Now, I've had people write my characters before, and that's happening again this summer. So we definitely have occasional opportunities for people to write our books, right? So there you go. Yeah. But I don't want to publish his book. I would rather say, hey, look, we have this anthology. It's 4 stories. I need 4 writers. Come on in. So that is a thing that we can, will, and have done, will do, are doing. But as far as like, hey, publish my book, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and that makes total sense, because like you're saying, you got to put the work in. I mean, and that brings up another point, is that when we're talking about, all the things that y'all are going through, and the fact that you're putting in, a lot more on your schedule right now and kind of building up from there, the new people that are out there need to understand that if you don't put the work in and you try to get at your level right off the bat, it's never going to work. I mean, it doesn't. So many people would come to me and say, I want Polito's numbers as soon as I put on Kickstarter. And it's like, so does everyone else.
Well, I mean, most people don't even understand that the reality is that only, Max, help me out with this. What is it? 20 some odd % of campaigns on Kickstarter reach $10,000, reach 5 figures, something like 20 to 30%.
20%
so even
do that, and 60% fail.
Right. Yeah. So, no one is sitting here telling you that it's easy. No one is sitting in here and telling you just put it on Kickstarter and you'll make $5,000. No, it takes time, takes effort, takes work. But if you give it to a publisher, you still have to do all of that too.
Right.
Because they're not going to do anything for you.
Right.
Or I should say they'll do the bare minimum that they're required to do.
Exactly. It'll have their name, possibly the following that they've already built up, under the publishing thing, but you still have to push and market and do everything yourself, because they'll go ahead and do a couple of posts for you. Yes, but they won't full on market the whole thing.
Yeah, that's right.
No, because I mean, you look at the numbers of comics that are selling nowadays. I mean, if you can move 10,000 units, you're a superstar. And that's just not enough to make any money. I mean, you're not going to make back what you put into it, and the publisher's barely making back the advertising costs that they paid to Diamond to put it in previews. Right.
Exactly. Now, kind of going into the end of this, because we're getting to that point where I want to kind of start slowing this thing down a little bit, I want to ask, in moving forward with the IPs that y'all have got that you're working with, we already know Tom's already said we're going to be revisiting back into, correct me if I'm wrong, what's the name of it again? The series?
Penny for Your Soul.
There you go. Penny for Your Soul, because it's already done and you're just remastering and doing the hardcover on there. And then Max is going to go ahead and do the branch off of Mary Machine Gun, which he's already got ready to go. It just needs to be, set up and ready to go. Y'all purchase it and he makes the books and y'all are happy. So whenever you're looking at building your IPs, not just this year, but going forward on that, are there any new things that you're looking at adding in possibly in the next few years? I mean, something that's totally off the reservation, not your regular wheelhouse.
Yeah, I got tons of stuff.
Yeah, we've got Love and Death. It's coming. That's
yes.
It's not like anything that we've done before. It's more of a rape revenge style story, kind of like I Spit on Your Grave. And then we've got, and Dark America itself is introducing the character of Dark America. So she'll have her own book after the introduction of her in this Mary arc.
Okay.
So, and that's our blonde goth girl, because everyone makes dark haired goth girl. So I was like, we'll go blonde.
And we all know, Tom, you've got stuff that you're constantly working on with different things, and you keep putting posts up there about you wish you could be able to go to sleep because you have these ideas just hitting you in the middle of the night and everything, and you just never stop with this. Is there a point where you just kind of go, back burner all of this. I have to focus on just this. I can't even look at this right now.
I have to, but the problem is that once you get too many things on the back burner, it all is a big fucking fiery mess. And so
Boils
you have
over.
you have to start pulling some of the back burners forward. So that's what we did over last year. We did preview editions for It's Only an Island If You Look at It from the Water, the shark book. We did the preview edition for Sand and Scales, my gladiator book. I still have Land of the Lost Cave Girl that we haven't done yet. There's tons
Lingerie
of stuff
Wars.
Lingerie Wars.
Lingerie Wars 2025. There's tons of stuff that I want to be working on. And actually there were two other things that popped up recently. Well, actually one of them's been a back burner project that's been pushing its way forward. But over the last few years, we've been celebrating all of our 10-year anniversaries. So we kind of have been focusing on those while then expanding and doing like Goth Day is now an annual thing for us and so on. Camp Crossover will be back again this year. All of our little strange days, we're doing a whole bunch of those this year, which that's part of what Brian's doing right now. He's part of the one of our special days. It's just... It's good to get through these things. Like I told my Oz story, I've told my Ursa Minor story. Now as we come into 2024, it's going to be Critter and Sand and Scales in 2024 as the focus. So I get back to Critter, which we haven't done in a long time. I get to do a brand new book, which is really the oldest of my back burner projects. So I'm glad we got to that. And then in 2025, Penny for Your Soul will be back with a brand new series for the 15-year anniversary of the book. Along with, this and that and whatever else. So
here's a question for you, Tom. Does it worry you that you haven't put anything for Penny of Your Soul out in so long that people might have kind of forgotten about it? Or you still got a lot of people begging for it?
People ask for me for Penny of Your Soul every single week. I get somebody asking, dude, when's the next Penny coming? So, the fact, and here's the other thing, the fact that Penny disappeared for almost 4 years when I was with Aspen before we came back and did it with Kickstarter. And then Penny grew from 16,000 on number 1 to 32,000 on issue 7. The audience is there. Now it doesn't mean I'm going to start with 600 backers and $32,000 again. But the audience is there. People like the story. People like the angels and the devils. Just the theme of it all is, people like it. So as soon as it pops back, it'll be right back again. Yeah. I don't really have any question about that.
Now, Brian, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot on this one and give you a little bit of power on this show. I don't know if I'm going to regret that or not, but you need to come up with some kind of a trivia question from tonight's show. They had to have been watching throughout the show, and think of a question that you can ask them for this, because Tom happens to have something that he is going to go ahead and give away, but you had to have paid attention. Let me show you.
All right. So, guys, we've been doing these mystery boxes, and we did 50 of these last year. This was a test market that we did last year for Camp Crossover. So we have these mystery boxes that we did. I'm in front of my mic. There we go. So these mystery boxes like this, it's a nice little Big Dog Ink box with the lid and everything. So the box is going to have 8 Big Dog Ink books in it from 8 different titles. It's going to have 1 super limited book, like a foil or a metal or an artist edition, something that's like less than 50 copies. Wow. And then it will have the exclusive Camp Crossover MR Gun Chloe cover right there, which again, there's 50 of them. And then you get the exclusive Penny for Your Soul Danica Magnet. Again, 50 of them. They're only available in the box. So we did 50 of them. I have 13 of these left. 13 of these left. So we're going to give one of them away tonight, which will leave us with 12. So whoever doesn't win tonight, if you want one, I still have them for a short period of time. They're $75. So you get 10 books, which is basically $7.50 a book. And you're guaranteed a foil, a metal, or an artist's proof as well. So it's a great deal. It's like $7.50 a book. It's amazing deal. But somebody is going to go ahead and win tonight. So let's see who's even in here. Everybody who's in here, just type hi or
Yes.
hey or whatever. Let's see who's actually sitting in here. Because
Yes.
if I only get one hey or hi, they're the winner.
Yeah, you know who won.
Exactly. Make some noise out there to let
Yeah.
us know that you're excited about this being up here. And oh, here we go. Boom, boom, boom.
So we got Frank,
let's
we
see.
got David, we got Stephanie still hanging out. Good. We got a few.
Yep. Oh, yeah,
Freddie's
here they
here.
come.
All right, good. So we actually had people watch us today. That's good. That's great. But again, all they were doing was waiting for the prize. That's why we do it at the end.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's why it has to be a lot of fun going through the show and everything. Hang out through the entire thing because you never know what's going to happen on that. Tom, offered to do this. I could have done this at the very beginning of the show, but we would have had everybody at the beginning and then nobody watching to the end because they've been like, "Oh, got my stuff. I'm ready to go." Well, now is your time. So if you're in here, one last chance, go ahead and let us know you're here if you have not already. And we're going to get Brian's going to ask a trivia question. I put him on the spot. This is going to be fun.
I can't even think of anything. I'm just sitting here trying to think of a trivia question. I can't come up with anything, guys. So. Too
Well, I mean,
much
you got
pressure for me.
I know. You got to have something. I'm trying to make it impartial on that. I couldn't ask, for myself on my show. I couldn't ask from Tom or Max on this one. So, I had to go ahead and give it on you, that one, Brian.
All right. I don't know. I guess I'll have to say what was the first BDI cover that I did?
Oh,
That would have to be yes, on the spot question here. I don't know if that's too hard or not. I don't know.
there you go.
Somebody's going to know what that is.
What is the first Big Dog Inc. cover that Brian Peterson worked on?
It is not Critter.
It is not. I'm waiting for him to come up. I'm waiting for them to start going through the list too. It's going to be
They're
all
saying
Right
just
now.
start typing out different BDI titles.
They're Googling them right now. They're like, wow, Tom did a bunch of these things on here.
God damn it, man.
Larry, you can keep trying.
It is not PVZ.
It
He
is
did a
not
PVZ. He did PVZ, but that was not his first.
That was not his first. Nope.
No.
Keep trying.
That was close, though. Close.
What?
Wasn't that?
Okay, fair. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. First Minor is not right. Penny for Your Soul is not right.
No, here we go. We're going through the list now.
Oh, Shawnee, it's what was Brian's first cover for Big Dog Inc.?
Yes.
That's funny. So Brian right now, again, he's working on our next day thing. We haven't announced what these are yet. The first one is coming in March. There'll be another one in April. Brian's is actually going to be in September. So we're working way ahead on it, but it is going to be 3 covers. It is going to be a 360 Spinneroonie cover. So be ready for it.
It is not Critter.
Be ready for it. It is not Critter. No, Frank, it is not. And I'll tell you that it for those of you that are fans of the booty, this will be the set for you.
It would be bootylicious.
Mm-hmm.
Bootylicious.
It'll be a beautiful puppy. Yes. I'm still waiting for them to start coming up in here. Larry said, "I have no idea. I drop out."
Larry has given up.
Don't drop out. I mean, keep going through.
I have a sense that it is not Gothe. I have a sense it is not Oz. I have a sense that Freddie Hernandez knows, and he's just waiting. He's giving the room a chance to win, and then he's just going to come in and take it. But no, it is not any of those things. Although he has worked on Gothe, he has worked on Oz. He's worked on everything, I think, except for some of our weird side projects. Like he hasn't done Lights Camera Jungle and Kaiju Epic, but I think all of our stuff he's worked on. He's done Camp Crossover. No, you haven't done a critter cover. Oh, yes, you have. No, you haven't.
Sort of. I did. It was the Blue Jay.
Oh, the Blue Jay. That's right. Yeah, you did the Blue Jay crossover thing. Yeah, that's right. She was in there. So yeah,
Nope.
no, it's not Lights Camera
Was
Jungle.
that for a critter book? I don't even know.
It was. Yeah, it was a
Okay.
reprint of Critter number 5
All right.
for our Catterday editions, and we did the there it is, Stephanie.
Oh, there
got
it is.
Stephanie has won herself a box.
Yep.
And Brian did the Scheherazade in space cover. So she was in the Silver Space Girl cover. That is correct, Stephanie.
Yes.
So I'll hook up with you after we're done and make sure I got the right address for you and so on.
Yes.
So that is Stephanie.
Stephanie making copies.
Winning comics.
And she is thanking Freddie for not answering. Exactly. Between Freddie and Shawnee are the two that I thought would probably end up getting that.
I knew
That
Freddie.
was a
Knew.
good
I knew he
question.
was
That
letting
worked
them
out
know.
better than I thought it would.
There you go. Now, I appreciate everyone for going ahead and putting forth the effort out there and trying to get the box, and good job on trying to do that. If you did not get it and you still want to get one, like Tom said,
We now
they're
have
available.
like 11 left-ish. 11. Yeah. So we do have them. It's a great deal, especially for those that are just starting. It's a great starter set because you're going to get 8 different titles. Yes, Big Dog Inc. has 8 different titles. Technically, I think we have 12. So if you want one, we still have them.
Thanks, Freddie.
Also, we have them on the Ursa Minor Kickstarter campaign right now. Marissa Pope has a special cover in that one. There are 4 of those left on the campaign. 4, and then they're gone. The Princesses versus Zombies ones, we did 50 of those with Marissa Pope. Those are all gone. So if you want any of these, they are all right on the edge of gone. We have 4 on the Ursa Minor campaign, and we have now 12 left of the original with MR Guns Camp Crossover. So that's all she wrote, folks.
Yep. And let me see. Everyone else is already covered on. Okay. So I appreciate everyone giving it a shot on there and everything. Please remember to go ahead and like this, share it out, subscribe it, to the channel and everything so you don't miss out on the content. We have a lot of great things we're planning on doing in the near future as well and having some fun with it. And Jason's in here right whenever we said we're giving away the prize. There you go. You missed it, Jason. I'm sorry, man. That close. Also, I just saw a post today that all of the Bad Kitty books from last year's Indiegogo are landing in people's mailboxes. Yes.
And Brian was part of that campaign as well. So keep your eyes open if you were a part of that. And if you weren't, I have been given the go-ahead from Dynamite to do a last chance campaign in February. We'll be doing Bad Kitty one more time on Kickstarter this time. And there will be one new cover as well. MR Gunn, who does this, MR Gunn is doing the Kickstarter exclusive cover, but you'll be able to get Brian's cover. You'll be able to get Shannon Mayer's. This will be your last chance for these books, and then they're gone.
Nice. Now, I'm about to give each of y'all full screen to go ahead and give like your call to action on different things that you're working on and all. I'm going to start with Brian on this one because I want you to go ahead and let everybody know why they need to go ahead and start following you and seeing what you're up to and keeping track, because you've got a lot on your plate that you're working on, and they need to know what kind of is gravitating around you right now. So let me give you full screen and let them know where they can find you and what's going on over there.
Sounds good. Well, of course, my name is Brian Peterson. I've got some projects going with Tom right now. We've got the biggest thing I have going right now is our new 360-degree set that we were mentioning. That's going to be one of my biggest challenges in the next coming couple months here. And I've got a few other covers that are coming out with a couple other people. And I've got lots that I have on my plate. We'll just see what I can crank out with the time and energy that I have allowed. So just keep your eyes peeled. There's plenty in the works.
Excellent. And now we're going to go to Mad Max up here, and he's going to tell you why you need to go ahead and be paying attention to Atrocity Press and see what's next on the list.
All right, I'm Max Devill. I operate Atrocity Press with Johnny Reed. Right now, we've got Mary Machine Gun number 4 on Kickstarter. The link is in the show notes. If you want to, you can check me out at atrocitypress.com. You can check out that. It's got all the news, all our social links, and all our the store with all of our swag and our merchandise and our books and stuff are all available there. You definitely need to pay attention to Atrocity Press because we're definitely growing and we've got something coming out damn near every month this year. So you'll be able to get your fix of bad girl action over and over and over again.
That's the way to do it right there. And Tom, go ahead and let them know because you're bored. I mean, I know you're bored over there, don't have anything going on, but I'm going to give you full screen just to let them know, why they need to go ahead and at least pay attention to you.
I hate all movies. Yeah. So Big Dog Inc., guys, we've been doing this now. This is our 13-year anniversary doing comics. It's going to be a very strange year. We're wrapping up Ursa Minor right now. You got 4 days left on Ursa, or 5 days left, I guess, on Ursa Minor. Please go check out the campaign. We're right on the cusp of it breaking all of our previous Ursa Minor records. Yes, I hate everything. That's right, Shoni. Bad Kitty from Dynamite Comics that I write. CB Zane on art. So it's sort of a Big Dog Inc. takes over Dynamite. Bad Kitty will be on Kickstarter next month. March, Penny for Your Soul, the remastered hardcover Penny for Your Soul, Volume 1 that's been out of print for like 5 years. Will be back in print. April, we take a little time off. May is Goth Day for us. Return of Goth Day, which CB Zane will be working on that for me pretty soon. June, we take some time off. And then July is our big BD 13 anthology. It's going to be a 40-page book. There's going to be 3 stories, including Yeehaw Vampires, which is a spinoff from Ursa Minor. It'll also have 2 other stories that are written by 2 other writers, and we're just about to announce who those are for this summer as well. And then we'll get into the final quarter of the year.
Nice. I mean, you got quite a bit planned out there to go on. So, you're not bored at all. I mean, we thought you were, but I guess you're not.
Not at all. Not at all.
Well, I mean,
got to stay busy.
Exactly. I mean, we have had a great show on her here tonight, having all of y'all on here and being able to discuss everything and kind of delve deeper into the process of creating all of these, as well as, the campaigns themselves, kind of delving into those. And I appreciate everyone for being here so very much, for being on the show and being guest on here. In the audience, if y'all let us know if you thought this was a hell of a show, give me a hell yeah out there. Let us know that you're excited about this and that you're excited about having guests like this on here. It makes it great. Not only for
at least a heck yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, at minimum, press the thumbs up button.
or use the middle finger, one of the fingers. It doesn't matter. I don't care. As long as we get some kind of thing out there. And David's the first one. Okay. He enjoys it too. Excellent. So, I mean, the main thing is this is not something that I'm going to retire off of because y'all are watching these shows and I'm getting the numbers on here. This is all about the exposure for my guests. That's all it has been since I started doing this. That's all it will be moving forward on all this as well. So keep that in mind whenever you're watching these, that this is all about my guests and the time up here for them to go ahead and get the exposure that they need to go ahead and keep building their brands and keep building their IPs and keep building their products out there so that the rest of us can greatly enjoy them. So again, I want to thank everyone for being here. Max, Tom, Brian, it has been an honor having y'all back on here again. Tom, 13 times. It's going to get to the point where we're going to start getting into those stupid numbers where I'm going to have to keep track, like with a little side thing over here, keep track of the numbers. Because
abacus.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to lose track of how many times you've been on here. But it has been an honor having y'all on here. I look forward to having y'all back on as we talk about, your newer projects coming out and all. But in the meantime, do me a favor. I am starting to do something a little bit different with the closing of my shows, and that's why I'm keeping y'all up here instead of dropping everybody back right now. I always want to close it out with a challenge. The challenge is, it's no longer the Demonation Challenge, anything like that. It is simply the Voice of the Indies Challenge. It's very simple. What I want to do is challenge everyone that's up here on the panel and everyone that's in the audience right now to go ahead and make sure. I want to ask you, what are you doing to increase the voice of the indies? That's all it is. And it's not something where I'm stepping on any toes or anything like that by any means, but it costs absolutely nothing to share. So that's one thing you can do right there. If you can reach out to artists like Brian and say, Brian, man, great work. We appreciate what you're doing out there. Small little comments like that, small little side notes, keep pushing him a lot harder than y'all think it does. if y'all reach out to Tom and say Tom hates everything, we appreciate that. He loves seeing that. That fuels him. And if you reach out to Max and tell him that Pepsi's better, he'll probably block and unfriend you.
Yeah, that's over. That's done. You're done. You cut off. Done.
Orange Crush is the answer anyway.
But the point is, go ahead and challenge yourself and everyone around you. What are you doing to go ahead and increase the voice of the Indies? Because as long as it's done together, then there's a lot more of a voice out there. It cannot be mistaken at that point. If everyone's trying to yell at the same time from different directions, you can't tell what it is. But if everyone kind of bands together for a little while, there's no telling how far this will possibly go.
And something we forgot. If you back Ursa Minor and Mary Machine Gun,
Yes.
both campaigns at a physical level, we have a free mini print crossover with Naomi and Mary Machine Gun on it. But you have to back both campaigns. We both end Saturday, so you have until Saturday. But you back both campaigns, we'll get you a free mini print as well.
Yes, we will.
Very cool. Very cool. And Mike, you're right on time because we're about to go ahead and shut it down. Yeah, I promise you, Mike, it's not just because you showed up that we're going, nope, we're out of here. We're actually at that point in time where we're going to go ahead and shut it down. But I appreciate everyone being here. Thank you again, and be looking forward to, especially because, Mike showed up here at the end. I'm just going to let you know it was kind of coincidence that he did, because my guest next Monday will be Bad Bug Media and Bad Bug Mature. Mike will be a part of that. So we're going to have some fun on that show as well. So keep that in your books as, ready for that one. Every Monday, 9 p.m. Central, we're going to be having the show live. And then we're also going to be dropping shows throughout the week. So don't miss out on that. Subscribe to find out. So until next time, and I always love saying this, keep it indie, y'all.